What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Frankie Bones, and in today's video we are going to be hopping back into the Yankees universe. We're going to be breaking down the series against the Cincinnati Reds. The Yankees get another 3-0 sweep. They end up finishing up their mini road trip going 6-1. Really impressive result. Overall record 29-20. We're now third in the AL East at 5.5 games back. Some interesting things to talk about, some good notes of interest, and definitely looking forward at the next few series. But real quick before we get into this video, just wanted to say if you guys enjoy, please feel free to drop a like on this video. And if you're new, please feel free to subscribe to not miss out on any of the Yankees content coming in the future. Series recaps, news, talking about injuries, everything you could possibly imagine. Much appreciated. So without further ado, we'll hop right into this 3-game series. Hopping into game number 1, which was on Friday night. The Yankees end up taking this one by a score of 6-2. Clarke Schmidt is a pretty solid start here. In this one, he goes 5, only allowing 2 with 6 Ks. Obviously, some more Yankees drama going on with a substance check. They asked Clarke Schmidt to wash off his hands. I actually didn't have a chance to watch this game at the moment when that was happening. The Reds manager ends up getting ejected, which, pretty interesting. Obviously, the Yankees just dealt with that issue with Domingo Germán, so be interesting to see how the umps continue to handle this situation. However, Aaron Judge continues to mash for this team. He hits a home run in the top of the first, and sort of just speed running this game a little bit. Kyle Higashioka with a big 2 RBI double in the top of the 9th to sort of put the game out of reach. And a recurring theme that we talk about here on this channel, the bullpen remains strong. They end up going 4 innings behind Clarke Schmidt, only 1 hit allowed. So moving on to the second game, this is here on Saturday. The Yankees end up taking this one by a score of 7-4. And some pretty interesting news before this game happened. The Yankees announced that they are designating Aaron Hicks for assignment. So this is sort of the release that a lot of Yankees fans were looking for over the past few years. Obviously, he was incredibly productive for us in the beginning of his time with the team. Over the last 2 years plus, he has dealt with some injury concerns and overall has really struggled at the plate and recently defensively. So sort of just got to the point with Hicks where it was time to cut bait with him. Obviously, as guys continue to return from the injured list, roster crunch sort of made sense for the team at this time. So yeah, I'm pretty glad to see him go just based on the situation of the team, but definitely contributed a lot to this Yankees team. So wish him the best wherever he ends up. But hopping back into the game, Johnny Brito, definitely his last start for now, which we'll get into a little bit in game number 3. Just an ass start. He ends up going 4 innings, I think allowing 4 earned, which is pretty crazy. Allowed all the earned runs here in this game. But again, recurring theme, the bullpen remains strong. 5 innings pitched behind Brito, 1 hit allowed. So just really continuing to dominate there. Aaron Judge, talking about dominates, he continues to do his thing as well. He goes 4 for 4 in this game with 3 RBIs. Anthony Rizzo with a 2-run home run in the top of the 10th. They end up going to extra innings. The Yankees bring it back, but Aaron Judge, I believe, had a single or a double to end up taking the lead. Rizzo with a 2-run home run to follow to make it 7-4. And another interesting note here, we talked about it in the last video, Jose Trevino goes on the IL. So we see the debut for the Yankees of Ben Rorvit. And yes, he is confirmed real. He did play the game, and he had a solid debut. We're going to talk a little bit further about him in a little while, but ended up going 2 for 4. Defense was pretty solid. Didn't really get to see too much of the arm strength, which is definitely a big tool of his, but some really good at-bats here at the plate. And the Yankees end up taking this one 7-4. And finally, we'll hop over to game number 3. which was today. We had the Peacock special, the brunch sort of game that Peacock has been pushing for. Kind of a weird format. It's at 11:35, so not necessarily a fan of that per se. It worked out. I had a game today at 3 o'clock, so I got to listen to it on the radio, but nonetheless, obviously carry on. Luis Severino returns to the rotation. He ends up having a really strong start for the Yankees. He was capped at 75 pitches, and outside of the first, I felt like he was really working really well on the mound, and looking forward to him continuing to progress over the next two starts. Harrison Bader and Gleyber Torres both with home runs in this one. Bader had a 2-run home run to allow the Yankees to take the lead in this one at 2-1. Gleyber extends it at 3-1. And another note that I want to talk about that, again, we'll talk a little bit more about is Greg Allen. The Yankees signed him in accordance with the move with Aaron Hicks, a guy that's been on this team before, has some different useful tools for this team situationally, and he made a really big impact in this game. Score was 3-1. He ends up walking to get on to first. He steals second. He steals third. And then Anthony Volpe brings him home on a double to extend the lead to 4-1. And to wrap up this game, Clay Holmes comes in the ninth. A little bit up and down. He ends up surrendering 2 hits and I believe walks 1 in the inning, but is able to get out of it with no damage, and the Yankees end up with the sweep, winning this last game by a score of 4-1. Moving on to our next segment, we'll talk about some key takeaways from this series. A little difficult to keep finding these every series, but definitely some good nuggets to take away from this one. The first one, Aaron Judge, just continues to be the heartbeat of this lineup. He only ends up playing 2 games in this series, and in the second game, he actually DH'd. First game, he played right and center, but overall in his series, he went 5 for 8, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 3 runs, so continues to just keep producing for this lineup, and ever since he's returned from the injured list, has really just been able to make a big impact on this roster, and definitely a really smart move. He played every game since he came off the injured list. The Yankees get him a day at DH on Saturday, off day on Sunday, team off day on Monday. So looking forward to having him over some pretty important games that we'll talk about a little bit later here down the stretch. 2 series at home and 2 big ones on the road as well. The next key takeaway we'll talk about is, again, a constant. The pen remains absolutely dominant behind some shaky starts. In this series, we had some good ones, but definitely not a lot of length. So definitely looking forward to the day off for them. Some overall stats from the bullpen over the last 3 games. 14 and the third innings pitched. 0 runs, 4 hits, 6 walks, 16 Ks. Would love to see the walk numbers go down a little bit, but, averaging less than half a walk an inning, pretty solid. Obviously, again, wish it was lower, but still incredible production out of this team, and they keep finding ways to continue to step up some of these guys that sort of came out of nowhere pitching in high leverage spots, and they're getting the job done. So hats off to this bullpen group that will continue to get stronger over the next couple of weeks and months. The next key takeaway that we're going to talk about is that the roster continues to solidify. So sort of like I was mentioning before, talking about Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks gets DFA'd on Saturday. In an according move, the Yankees end up signing Greg Allen, a guy that we have had on the team in the past, and just sort of replacing what Aaron Hicks does not as well, I guess, in a way. So he has a better defensive glove. He's faster. Situationally not going to be playing too much. The bat is a little bit better. The eye at the plate, Hicks does have a great eye, good at drawing walks, but we saw the impact that Allen was able to have earlier today, recording this on Sunday. So it'll be interesting to see what other moves happen as guys come back. Obviously, we still have Giancarlo Stanton on the IL, as well as Donaldson and some other pitchers as well. And the last thing that we'll talk about, sort of in that line, is that Johnny Brito was optioned back to AAA in accordance with Sevy coming up. I think Brito pitched well overall. I think that expectations were not too high for him. I think that they were a little bit inflated from spring training, his performances there. I think that he did a good job for this team, put us in some spots to win, and let's say maybe we won half the games that he started. And if you asked me that at the beginning of the year, maybe I'd be a little bit over optimistic, but I think that's right about where I would expect him to be. So appreciate him coming up and giving us a few quality starts, and I think it was some good experience for him, potentially if we need him later on down the line this year or later on in the future. And finally, our last key takeaway, we'll talk about Ben Rorvit. And he was really solid in his debut. Again, he went 2 for 4, scored twice. He had a double in the third and a single in the fifth. And just sort of interested to see what's going to happen with him over the next couple of games. Again, Jose was put on the 10-day, so probably over the course of the next handful of games, we might see 1 to 2 more starts for him before Jose comes back. So interested to see his impact here on the team. I like the hitting. He's got some really useful tools for us. Again, Higgy has a lot of pop as well, but I like the left-handed bat, especially from the catcher. He has a really strong arm, which I like, especially the way that the game has continued to progress with the pitch clock. So just sort of interested to see what he's going to be able to contribute. And, it's been a long time coming for him. He was a part of the Twins trade. So would be a really nice add, and really looking forward to seeing how he continues to progress. He played well in AAA, so interested to see if he's able to make an impact later on this season and sort of what the future holds for him overall. Next, we'll talk about some injury updates for the Yankees. 4 guys in particular. First off, we'll talk about Sevy, obviously not injured anymore. Really solid in his return to action earlier today against the Reds. He ends up going 4 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 Ks. We were told that he was going to be capped out at 70 to 75. He ends up going 75, so stuff looked really solid. I mean, the 1 run in the first was a little bit fluky, that play down the line that was called foul. It was reviewed. It became fair. The runner allegedly would have scored. A little bit cloudy there, but I think the stuff looked really good. The velo was up. He got up to like 98, I think, which was pretty solid. So just looking to see how he does over the next 2 starts, continues to expand in terms of pitch count and just continued success. Obviously, the Reds isn't the top of the line, but thought he navigated the lineup really well. The next thing we'll talk about will stay on line with the pitchers. I guess these guys are all pitchers. Carlos Rodon. So since our last video, he has been throwing at 120 feet. He did so on Saturday, and sort of the last update I was able to find. And he will be joining the squad for the homestand in New York. So just sort of getting a hands-on look at him, see where he is, talk to him face-to-face about how he feels, how he's reacting to the cortisone shot, and allegedly looking to try and figure out a program to have him throwing off the mound in the next few days, which optimistically I'm very excited. We'll have to stay tuned to see where this progresses to. Once he's in the building, the guys get home and are able to get a hands-on look. The next 2 we'll keep pretty quick. The first one is Ian Hamilton. I wrote down the ham bone. The MRI confirmed that he does have a groin strain. This will run for about 4 weeks. He's been really productive for this Yankees bullpen, so looking forward to getting him back, over the next month or so, but not a tremendous loss, but would obviously love to add him back into this great mix that we have in the pen right now. And staying in the bullpen, Tommy Kahnle, 2 rehab outings over the weekend. He threw 2 innings, 4 Ks, no base runners allowed. And I think the other outs were like a ground out and a fly out. So stuff ended up looking pretty good for him. Looking forward to seeing how he's able to contribute and ultimately what a timeline sort of looks for him moving forward. And finally, to wrap up this video, we'll talk about looking ahead at the next few series that we have down the line. So we start off, we have an off day on Monday, and after that, we will host the Baltimore Orioles for 3 games. After that, we'll host the Padres for 3, and following that, we'll start our mini road trip out to the West Coast, and we will have 3 against the Seattle Mariners. So, pretty interesting stuff here for this team. The Orioles have been really hot over the past 3 weeks, so definitely a good opportunity as well to continue to make up ground. Divisional wins are always super, super important, and there should be a big focus for us on winning this series. We'll have Garrett Cole and Nestor for 2 of the games, so I think we definitely should be able to take care of business, especially in the Bronx. And the series against San Diego, they've been having some difficulty. I think they've lost 9 of their past 10, but obviously a very talented offensive group, so nothing to sort of scoff at there, especially in Yankee Stadium. You never know what may happen. And traveling on the road then for 3 at Seattle. I think that these can be really important games. Obviously, it's a long road trip, but if this group's able to stay composed, maybe we go 500 between Seattle and the Dodgers. I think could be a big boost for this team, and gives us a really good month of May. Sort of at that point when we return home from Los Angeles, that's just about the end of May, and that's going to put the Yankees in a really good spot. Definitely a really big bounce back from April, where at the end we started to have that slide, but looking forward to seeing what we're going to be able to continue to do over these next 10 days or so. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think our biggest what your biggest takeaways are from this series, and what to expect looking forward. What do you guys think about the Aaron Hicks move? What do you guys think about Sevy's debut this season? Let me know down in the comment section below. But if you guys enjoyed this video, again, please feel free to drop a like. If you guys are new, subscribe to not miss out on any more Yankees news. But for now, that's going to do it for this video, guys. This has been your boy Frankie Bones, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out.